each of you for your testimony, and I'll start, and then Senator Durbin, and back and forth that way. 5 minutes each. Mr. Finna, requiring fast and efficient sharing of data and intelligence is very important. What are the biggest breakdowns in information sharing between federal, state, and local agencies when it comes to elder investigations? Would a more formalized information sharing hub or federal coordinating mandate help track and take down transnational scam networks more effectively? I think you've touched on this already, but this gives you an opportunity to expand.
Absolutely, Senator. I appreciate the question. I believe it's the only way to make an impact on this crime is to have a whole of society approach and a coordinated approach to this. And I'll give a perfect example. In just San Diego County, 12 different law enforcement agencies, all independently siloed, not sharing information on any of these cases. Until we put that together with a coordination center, you didn't realize that victims in Carlsbad and Coronado and El Cajon and Santee and San Diego were all victimized by the same criminal enterprise, not being investigated by any one of those individual departments or federal agencies. Unless we do this nationally, I do not think we're going to be able to get ahead of this crime that grows every single year. However, I do believe we do have the assets nationally between our public and private sectors and these efforts. If we put them together, I think we could create real impact.
More time for you with this question. How does the National Elder Fraud Coordination Center make a difference, and what can Congress learn from your efforts?
So the National Elder Fraud Coordination Center, we call it NEFC, essentially focuses on pre-existing efforts, predominantly in the private sector. And I'll give you another example. Amazon does investigations into fraud and vulnerable persons programs. They come up with a certain number of selectors related to the bad guys in their investigations. We take those selectors and we share them with telecoms, banks, other nonprofits, other different financial institutions, tech companies, and we aggregate the information that they've collected on those same selectors in order to present to law enforcement. What that does, it gives law enforcement a huge jump start in a type of investigation that would normally take months and months and months to get to that point, saving effort and making each case more impactful.
Mr. Bearcue, a recent survey sponsored by Google said 53% of Americans report receiving at least one scam call per day. What should we be doing as a nation to regain trust in our telecommunications system and to protect citizens from the growing rates of scam calls?
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think our industry shares that concern. We all want the same thing. Calls people want getting through, calls people don't want getting through, and that's what the industry has really been focused on. I think the way to really focus on that is we really do have to go after the bad guys. We've built a lot of protections in the network. There's been a lot of enforcement against enablers of that, and what we see is that the criminals behind this just keep adapting and finding new pathways. So I think that's really got to be part of the answer, going after the bad guys.
Ms. Gunther, 13 different agencies currently play some role in collecting data about and fighting scams. There's criticism that they operate in silos, and there's a lot of talk lately about the need to centralize data collection about scams. How might it bolster our law enforcement efforts if financial institutions were able to report fraud to a central repository accessible by law enforcement authorities and financial institutions?
Thank you for the question, Senator. It's a great point. Right now, we're very siloed. The IC3 with the FBI is collecting data, the FTC is collecting data, and then the Department of Treasury is. And those really need to be aggregated together so that people can report into that and we can understand more and more about what's happening in this area. so that we can have better statistics and know what these criminal networks are doing. And I think one of the biggest barriers to that is really the privacy concerns that they have with financial institutions not being able to share information because of consumer privacy regulations.
Senator Durbin.